We're early.
It's all right. That's cool.
Way early.
All right.
We are super early. We are early.
You can handle it.
I can handle it, but we shouldn't be on the air.
All right, we are now.
Okay, now we are.
Want to start this thing? All right. Jack couldn't keep his mouth shut again.
7 o'clock, let's talk.
Good evening and welcome to Tavern Talk with Jack and Dennis. Please stand for a pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. So we got two topics for you tonight. I'm going to be talking about the midterm elections, and Jack's going to be talking about Article 5 convention.
Yeah, the state convention.
State convention.
Well, it's grown. That's why I want to talk about it, because if it gets to that point, maybe, we keep saying we don't know who's running it. If it starts coming to your town and they start campaigning for it,
You got to run for it.
here's some questions to ask them.
But before we get into what our topics are, we always do at the beginning of the month, Benedict Arnold Hall of Shame for politicians.
I got it right here.
So Jack picked his this month, and it'll be up on our website on actually tomorrow and be up for the whole month of October. So enjoy it. Go ahead.
Think I was gonna need these so soon.
He needs
Sitting
them.
back, relaxing.
He needs them.
All right, Rashida Tlaib.
She's our
She's a Benedict Arnold
Hall of
idiot.
Shame.
Is a U.S. representative from Michigan's 13th district since 2019. She is a professed member of Democratic Socialist of America. So, if she's a professed member of the Democrat Socialist of America, should she be in Congress to begin with?
She's a part of the squad.
Yeah. Original. She's one of the original squad.
There's a couple more now.
Yeah. So if you're a socialist and you can't put your hand on the Bible and swear allegiance to the Constitution of the United States because you don't believe in it, you're a socialist, should she be in office to begin with? All right? Ask yourself that. So anyway, she's a committee member of the Finance Service Committee. And they had a hearing in Congress with the CEOs of the banks of America, all of them. So she had asked them a question: will your bank loan money to people and companies that are going to invest it in fossil fuels? So, guy, Mr. Diamond, I'm not sure, I forget which bank it was. I think it was Citibank. I'll have it better for up there. He said, I'm definitely going to do that, because if I didn't do it, that would give us a road straight down to hell in the economy of this country. So obviously I'm against. So she leans back and laughs at him. You can say what you want, but what I'm going to suggest now is I'm going to tell everybody that doesn't believe in fossil fuels that if your bank will loan money to people investing in fossil fuels, to take your money and leave that bank. What does that sound like to you?
Okay.
Sounds like a run on a bank. So the economy, as bad as it is, this woman is directing the American people on TV while she interrogates these CEOs of the bank. Mind you, the rest of the CEOs sat like church mice, cowardly. They must be Republicans and jellyfish with no backbone. Well, this guy said it. So with everything that's going on, now we have representatives telling their people to put a run on a bank and take all your money out of the bank because that's good for. She is so stupid and doesn't even understand what her words mean that she just literally ordered a run on the banks for anybody that's upset that they're going to invest in the fossil fuel. Listen, Michigan, you want to vote people in and ruin your state? Do us a favor and keep these maniacs out of the federal office that affects all of us. All right? If you can't figure out how government works and you want to ruin your state, then just don't vote anybody in. Don't be represented through the United States because you don't believe in the United States anyway then. All right? I don't know what you're doing up there, But to elect this person multiple times, and she went through all your state offices too, by the way. There's something wrong with you folks that are voting these people in. So that's going to be my...
Benedict Arnold.
Yeah. Also, another member of the AOC, she said capitalism is creating too many rich people, and so those people aren't having enough kids. These are people that are running the government, folks.
Jack's going to put it up on our website tomorrow. Here it is right here, fedupwithpolitics.com. You can't miss it.
And you're voting them in. Not once, not twice, just continuing on. These two morons.
Yep. So never before in the history of our country that constituents are so divided on which way they want to vote. They don't know if a Republican should represent them or a Democrat or an independent. Doesn't matter. You're so divided. For the ones who follow politics daily, we sure you've known months in advance who you're going to vote for. It's a midterm election. For most Americans who don't want to hear about politics or poll numbers, back in January, like most people, you start choosing your candidate around this time, October, middle of October. Most of the time we only have two choices to vote for. It's either Republican or Democrat. We don't have a lot of options. It isn't fair to anyone, Jack, not having options.
Well, you don't have any option,
right?
Because your Republicans and your Democrats are the same. They're just they're working for the administrative state that we have now.
They sure are. People should have more than two choices. All right. Politicians on both sides of the aisle have created division that benefits them and only them. This division is within the voting constituents, we the people who vote. We don't have a sense of nationalism anymore. I don't think we have anything anymore. That's what's crazy about it. Democrats tell us that Republicans want to take away our rights and liberties, and they lie to the American people every day. Republicans tell us that Democrats want socialism and instill fear in Americans about massive climate change and lie to us. I believe one thing we can all agree on is politicians all lie. They divide us perfectly. And most citizens who vote take the bait and believe what they're being told. We have to wake up, people. So growing up in New York and having a job I desired, I had to be a registered Democrat. And I also believed that they were a party to take care of my pay raises and take care of working people. I was in a union. I was also told that Democrats will never fail the constituents of America. And I was involved in the union. Got to see a very different picture. Just a quick story. We're in contract negotiations one year, back in around 2000. We decided to ask our county legislator to assist us with getting a pay raise because we were at a stalemate. And we worked hard for months to get their support. And what we finally found out from these Democratic legislators that we had was totally different from what I've been told and always remembered. Democrats voted against the union and the working people to get a decent pay raise. They chose party over people. After that, I didn't believe them anymore. The party left me and my beliefs. I was totally disappointed. I no longer believe or trust either party because I think the Republicans are doing the same thing. They tell us what we want to hear. Things are going to get better. They're not going to get better. The only way it'll be better if we stand up and fight for our rights. They have done so many things with this country that's wrong. They don't deserve my respect. They don't deserve your respect. It's crazy out there. From their current political games and spending millions of dollars to illegal immigrants, they're giving millions of dollars to people who aren't even citizens. Going after people with the DOJ because they speak out at a school board meeting. What the hell is that in America? You can no longer trust these people. They're tyrants. They're idiots. So I just found this article yesterday, as a matter of fact, in the New Rationalist magazine under 7 reasons why people don't trust politicians. Therefore, it's so hard to vote for these two parties and their candidates. I'll list a few reasons. Go back and listen to the article. Read it for yourself. We always tell you, don't believe what we say. Research what we say. Number one, they always seem to lie. Big concern on everybody, on all constituents we've talked to. We talk a lot every week. They know these people lie. But how often has the government said one thing and done another? And then Newsweek came out and said the other thing? It happens a lot more. Since the days of FDR, this is going on where the news media has started sniffing out the truth. And we all know the truth every time they open their mouth. Every time they open their mouth, they're lying. Okay? Number two, and I've felt this for a long time, they feel they're above us. It's another reason people distrust the government, that they're all passing laws and regulations, but they don't have a boots on the ground view of what's happening. We've said that a lot. If you listen to a lot of our past shows, you'll see that. We talk about both sides, both Republicans and Democrats, because they are bringing down this country. The third one, things don't get done. If you think they do, you better look again, because nothing's been done in the last 40 years. Only in the wake of massive crises can the two sides of the government stop posturing and start working together. Unfortunately, that's not okay, because if the pressure isn't on, our government can bicker until the end of time. Nothing's going to get done. We've seen that. With all the partisan bickering, they can't pass legislation for us, the American citizens. Just look how screwed up the healthcare system is. But we never see any solutions from any politicians. It's just talk. And that's both Democrat and Republican. It's unfortunate that we have to live life as we do today. From high inflation to the American dream of home ownership. It's out of reach for just about everyone, every race. No matter where you come from, home ownership is a no-no. You can't get it now. Interest rates are too high and houses are too high. When we go to buy food, we can barely afford to buy our food. You can't take your family out to dinner like you used to. You have to cut back. Everywhere, people are struggling. I've been doing a couple questions on Facebook about the economy, and I got so many people responded, and they're just as fed up. They're just as fed up as you, me, Jack, Mike, Junior. They want change. They just don't know how to do it. You know? High inflation squarely sits on this administration's shoulders with the spend money and everything. But people want to blame the last administration, but we all know that isn't true. Under the last administration, inflation was held in check. Prices were low. And inflation is when the general price of goods and services increases across the country, reducing the interest power of the currency and the value of certain assets. The same paycheck that you bought last year, it's being spent on bills, services, less food. It's called a hidden tax. We've talked about this before. It's a hidden tax that leaves taxpayers less well off due to higher costs and bracket creep. It increases the government's spending power. Every year, they try to increase their spending power. We have to stop fearing these people. We have to.
It's only good for big government and big business.
You know, our government sucks today. They are tyrannical and care less what you and I think. So as you consider a candidate for this midterm election, 6 weeks to go, you have to make your choice wisely. Our future depends on making the right decision. The only thing on each ballot this year that is missing are minor party candidates running for these positions. And although these two major political parties have failed us, I believe in my heart, the only option we have for this cycle is to vote Republican. Republican Party has failed us. We all know that. Right here in Horry County, the whole Horry County board stepped down.
Yeah, well, and we had an option for West Virginia with Joe Manchin. He was worried about the government.
But he got screwed. He ended up getting screwed by his own people.
Yeah, I mean, now you see the bill he's trying. Now it's all it was smoke. They guaranteed this guy an option. We might put it on there. and he fell for it
Yep.
and voted.
Well, right now, our only option, we must find a way to stop this out of control government spending and make Biden a lame duck president. So make your decision this year. Think about how the economy is going and how we are doing, letting over 2 million illegal immigrants into our country since 2021. Look at the economy as a whole, and hopefully you'll make the right decision. Get out there to vote, rally your friends to vote, and don't forget, most importantly, your vote counts. Jack?
All right. So I'm going to hit on this Article 5 state convention that's building up a lot of steam. And the number one thing on it, the only thing I've seen on it so far is implementing term limits. All right. Now, when you put in, you're allowed to put in a whole number of things, and it's supposed to stay within whatever that list was. It goes to Congress. Congress okays it and then gives you a time and a place where you can hold this convention up to a certain amount of time. And if they don't give you a time or place, you're allowed to pick the place and time you want to do it on your own. And they're giving Congress an out by just having the one issue. Our government is running like it's a socialist country. And I say that because I know there's a lot of people out there that say I'm wrong on that, but I'm not. It's the administrative state that they did back in 1946. They did this Legislative Organization Act in 1946. And the reason why and President Truman signed it in August 2nd, 1946. And the main point of it was to streamline congressional committees and processes. So basically what Congress was complaining about, they had too much work. We can't do all of this work. And so they put it out to that administrative state that we went on last week, where you had to be an expert and you had to be non-binding to any kind of elections. You weren't allowed to be part of any elections because you had to be an expert and stay in there, and you had to be progressive or you weren't going to get that spot. And it still holds today. So you watch the news all the time. You say, why is the government doing that? Why are the Republicans not doing this? Why are the Democrats doing that? Why are the Democrats not doing this? And the Republicans, they're all working to an ends of their own interest, which is an oligarch. Now, Dennis just said they don't understand what we're doing. And this is very easy why. Because once you become an expert, and you become an expert in, now you circulate with experts. So where are they all? They're all in Washington, D.C. So they all go out to dinner together. They send their kids to the same school. They talk about the same things. So they don't hear what you're saying, and they don't care what you're saying because they're not going to get elected. So what's happening today is government is being run by people that are not liable to election. And the Supreme Court doesn't rule. They don't have any of the facts. If somebody comes in and they got fined by the Department of Energy and they say, no, that's wrong, and it makes it to the Supreme Court automatically says this goes to the experts. Now, you ask yourself, why is this going on? Stop asking yourself and start asking these candidates, why is this going like this? You're an incumbent. Why is this happening while you're in office? And it's time to educate your government leaders because they don't know why they're doing it. And why they're doing it is because Congress back in 1946 gave up all of their legislative rights. And to that point, they did it in 1972 also. Not two. 19 also. Nixon signed that in. They argued in 66, got it passed in 68, and in 1970, Nixon signed it in. Another, exactly the same thing, Legislative Reorganization Act, Part 2. So the one in 1946, they were saying they were working too much. And so, for an example, I got this from Ballotpedia.org, Legislative Reorganization Act. So the U.S. Senate at that time had 44 subcommittees in 1946. By 1980, it's doubled to 87.
How many they got today?
So today we have thousands of them. We know that because the government of the United States doesn't even know how many bureaucracies they are. They assume it's around 1,200 because these are all the people that they have to appoint in there. Some of them have to go in front of the Senate, and some of them don't. But none of them have to go in front. So now when you hear these people saying, the experts are running this. Here's the problem, folks. They're not experts. First off, they're schooled in the indoctrinating schools that they want them to be. So that's why they stay progressive. They're taught to be progressive, number one. Number two, our leaders on both parties, Republican, Health and Human Services, perfect example. He has to go in front of the Senate to get this job. So the Republicans and the Democrats put this man in there. Health and Human Services. That's the health of us people. The guy that's in there now is not a doctor. He's a lawyer and a professional politician from California. So what's his expertise in health and human services? How is he an expert? What has he done to be an expert? Pete Buttigieg, transportation. He's an expert. What has he ever done? Did he ever run a trucking company? Was he part of the longshoremen? Did he work in the rails? What did he do to become an expert to be the Secretary of Transportation? Nothing. These are your experts. These are the things you have to. So in this Article 5 state constitution, getting term limits is going to help, obviously. And people say, well, the founding fathers didn't want term limits. Well, they did, because they put it a timer. You get voted to president, 4 years. Senate, 6. Representative, 2 years. If you're appointed as a Supreme Court judge, lifetime appointment. It says it right there. So with these year things in, so they didn't say you're going to get elected to Senate. No, they said you get elected to Senate for 4 years, 6 years. You get elected to be a representative for 2 years. They put these time frames in there for a reason. So that's a ground ball. Yes, that's fine. But what we have to also put in here is that's not what broke in government today. What's broke in government today is that the people we elect are not running what we live in. These bureaucracies they tell you how much you're allowed to get paid, how many hours you're allowed to work, what's in your light bulbs, the spout in your gas can to fill up your lawnmower, how much fumes your lawnmower is allowed to burn. This is what, and what they have, it's called, this is what we got to get rid of.
It's kind of over-regulation.
The biggest thing we got to get rid of, we have to remove congressional oversight. There should be no congressional oversight because Congress should be legislating. So what that says, congressional oversight means Congress had nothing to do with this, but they're going to watch the bureaucracy that did it. And then when the bureaucracy comes in front of the of Congress to testify, they tell Congress, no, we have to do it because of this. Now Congress has to go out and tell us, oh no, they're going to do it this way because of this reason. So they're answering to the bureaucracies. How do the bureaucracies stay in power? They give money away through welfare, special interest, these subcommittees get. So now it's not committees anymore. It's the subcommittees. And we went through this with the subcommittees. The subcommittees and the lobbyists are together. They negotiate together, and then they go to the bureaucracy and say, this is what we would like. And the bureaucracy said, and now they get funded for it. So it's not Congress. It's not committees. It's subcommittees. So this is how far under the table the money's going. So it's not here. It's not here. It's way down here. It's called the swamp. So now the lobbyists and the subcommittees are down here. And in 1946, that was part of that act. They got staff to take care of it. So now they got lifetime members and staff of those committees who have to be progressive or they can't have that job because it's part of the bureaucracy now. So that's why if you're a conservative thinker, if you go into office right now and you say, I am a constitutionalist, I believe in a republic type government, your staff don't believe in what you're doing and they're not going to work for you. Because in order for them to keep their job, they have to be a progressive and have progressive beliefs. So this Article 5 state convention needs to get this, folks, is why you cannot clean the swamp out, because it goes down 3 levels and then they push their money up. It's a complete oligarch. These small groups of people are keeping all the money. They stay together. They don't know what we're doing. Everybody says they're not hearing. No, they don't. They're not hearing you. They don't care because they're not getting elected. And they're telling the elected officials, no, this is what we're going to do. And the elected official has no power because if it goes to the Supreme Court says, well, it's got to go to the expert in the bureaucracy. Did that make sense on that?
Yeah, you did.
That's your problem, folks. That's why for the people that think that Trump was that guiding light that was going to cure all, that's why the government, the founding fathers said, you need to have great laws instead of great rulers. Because if you have laws and you have to stay in the law, then leaders come and go, but the laws stay there. 1946 and 1970, they changed that all around. So now the laws are being made up as we go. Remember how we always say your Constitution can't be drifting over here, can't be. That's how we got away from England. Their Constitution used to be written as it was going. Rome fell because same thing. Their Constitution changed. Germany, Hitler got into power because he had them suspend their Constitution and he was able to go in there. If you don't have great laws, you don't have a great government. This is critically important, folks, because whoever gets elected in this midterm, it does not matter who they are. It doesn't matter what party they are. They don't understand what this government is. And they don't understand the jaws that they're about to go into. They're about to get their ass bit. And it's going to hurt. And then they're going to say, you know what? I'm going to go along for the ride with you guys. I'm going to make my money. I'm going to make my family rich. And I'm going to leave when I'm... Listen, working in Congress is not hard. We're going to have to look into it and see how many people are over 70 years old that are active people in Congress. I mean, the guy in the White House.
Mitch McConnell,
Nancy Pelosi. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on and on.
Waters.
I mean, they're all over 70 years old. Lindsey Graham, I think he's over 70.
Oh.
I mean, Chuck Schumer, over 70. Nava, over 70. You know, these people, it's not a hard job. You want to know why it's not hard? Because they're just oversighting. They're not doing their job. All the legislating, those bills they make, they don't write. That's why Nancy Pelosi, when she said we had to pass the bill to see what's in the bill, she was 100% right. Because Congress did not write that bill.
That's crazy. So, I read a book, the sheriff.
Congratulations.
Sheriff of Wisconsin. Sheriff of Wisconsin wrote a book about, got into the specifics of the Article 5 convention. So it's a good book. It's an easy read. He was a sheriff of Wisconsin, David Clark.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's down there.
It might be, but it's a dangerous spot.
Yeah, Jack can't see that far.
Jack doesn't want to go that far.
Mike, what do you got?
The Article 5. The people that are in Congress, can they add anything they want to that too?
No.
Here's the problem, Mike. If it goes to a state convention and we keep letting George Soros get people in office, the state legislators are going to be the one that's going to write this up. So what's going to happen is, God forbid, we get the state convention. The Democrats win the states.
They put whatever they want.
They put whatever they want. And then it goes in front of Congress, and Congress will give them a day and time to pet, and then.
There's still 2/3 to ratify it.
Listen, it's very important on all levels of politics right now. If you're going to run, and it's building up steam, it's going. But remember, I had told you that other thing, that other group that's working the same to get rid of the college electorate. That's their plan. So they're working like this. So we, the constituents, have to educate ourselves on what's coming down the pike, because you got both of them, and it's a race. It's a race big time. You knew that the progressive socialists in this country weren't going to just let this Article 5 go on by itself. So they come up with this one to get rid of the college electorate. And they have just as many states as they're tied, neck and neck. So if these states start winning and you start losing the governorship and the state legislators, it could turn bad real quick.
Yeah.
There's like 20 something states that have signed on for an Article 5 convention.
Same thing for the other thing, though. For getting rid of the college electorate. They are right there.
Mm-hmm.
They're a little behind them, but right there. And as these states keep ticking over and changing, there it goes. There goes the way.
The little people won't have a say in politics ever again.
You won't have a say in anything, in nothing. And I'm going to show you later the different things that they do to get around.
See, our country is in chaos right now, folks. If you don't see it in front of you, you're naive or you don't care. If you don't want to care, that's on you. But you know what? If you have kids or grandkids, you got to do it for them. Can't let them suffer when we have the opportunity to say no more. It's not fair to them. It's not fair to us. Mike, anything? Got anything? Want to talk about?
Nothing there.
Want to talk about anything?
No, I just was wondering about that because I think that's a scary.
You have any topic you want to talk about?
I don't think so.
Think of one.
Yeah.
Think of a topic?
Think of a topic, Mike.
All right, well, I think that if we don't stop this government, it is going to turn into a third world country.
I think we're almost there.
I think so too. I think we're right at the edge.
Look at all
Everywhere except Martha's Vineyard. They're going to be okay.
Yeah. Everywhere you look, turn on the news, there's chaos everywhere. Look at all the homeless people sleeping in the streets.
Yeah,
all
we got homeless.
We have Myrtle Beach right here.
Yeah.
Just a little bit.
And we got
We got Chapin Park, right? Chapin Park in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
Overrun by homeless people.
Nobody goes to that park. It's a beautiful park, but nobody goes there because you got the homeless there.
You know, it's not only the homeless, but drug addicts and people begging for money all the time. On only street corners, you have people begging for money.
Yeah.
And you say, I can't go out and get a job. They'd rather beg for money.
Yep.
You know.
And then you got the food chain, the chain supply problem. What I don't understand is we had COVID. Before COVID, you could call a doctor and he would answer the phone. You could go to a restaurant and have the inside open because they had enough people to work. After COVID, where did all the people go?
Well, this is what happened.
Oh, they're still there.
Yeah, but
the problem is COVID showed. Listen, the biggest industry hit by government regulation was the bar and restaurant. And why was the bar and restaurant hit the hardest out of all the industries? Because they're the most small business, privately owned. Your supermarkets, your small mom and pop places were all shut down, but Walmart was wide open. So that was just another power grab from this government is trying to squat. Remember, there are no small businesses in socialist countries. They're all
they're all big business and
government run. And they,
it's like government, utilities.
So now business. When you look at these shortages, now again, you saw a picture of all the ships stuck out there in California, now they're gone.
They're gone.
But you still can't find anything on shelves because the government said to these guys, you better start holding back. This is what you're going to hold back. This is your expert Pete Buttigieg. What is, this is what they're doing. So again, the railroad, they got a 24% contract. They're gonna get paid 20. So what does that do? That's the government now Why would they pay these guys so much money? Because it's theirs. It's already government subsidized.
Mm-hmm.
What are they getting rid of? The small independent truckers. They're not going to get any raises.
Yes, no.
They're going to lose their shirt. And they're going to give it all to the railroads. And these big corporate, publicly traded trucking companies are going to be taking them off the train and bringing them to your local places. Those small mom and pop guys, gone.
Yeah.
Those small, I can't tell you how many small independent guys you got running out of Charleston's seashore, taking product out of from the longshoremen. That'll be all gone.
Yeah.
You know what's pretty sad? You know what's pretty sad is these people want to rely off the government, instead of getting off their lazy asses to go get a job and feel pride in what they do.
Yeah.
They want to get. I'll take $600 from the government every month. I can live on that. I'm living at home with my mommy and daddy. You know.
You know what? It's funny.
Well, that's
sad.
how they stay in power. They give money out to other.
Well, that's how they get reelected too.
I think the elections. The only thing that these politicians are doing is corresponding on what these bureaucracies want sold. So the bureaucracies are making all the laws and the litigation, and the politicians are going out there saying, "Yeah, this is what we're going to do, and this is why we're going to do it."
That's why we talked about midterm elections tonight, because they're so important for the future, the next 2 years. If the Republicans lose control or don't regain control, we might as well just lay over and say, "Hey, you guys won."
But I tell you the truth, it gives you a little time, because hopefully you got a bunch of new people in there. But until you get these bureaucracies gone and Congress starts legislating again, all the power has gone to bureaucracies and the executive branch.
Look at the Department of Education. Billions and billions of dollars for federal.
Yeah.
It's not a federal responsibility. It's not even in the Constitution.
And we got to get the word of God back into the schools too.
We do. You're absolutely
because when they started attacking that's when moral and corruption started going up.
I mean, you go to now, Mike, and all you need is the preponderance of evidence. In other words, if they give you so many facts and no proof, must be true.
Yeah.
And that's not the way court's supposed to be run.
No.
It's not supposed to be run on the preponderance of evidence. Matter of fact, the federal courts were there's so many few laws for the Supreme Court to see. It was supposed to be all state jurisdiction, and now it's not.
Also, Board of Education too. Those guys are told to teach this. If you don't, you lose your funding. And that's the problem with federal Board of Education.
The bureaucracies give money to stay in power.
And they're afraid to say anything because then they could lose their
And let
money.
me tell you something. If you get enough people in office that understand the laws, especially as representative, Congress holds the purse strings.
That's right. They could stop the salaries.
Stop paying.
And we're talking about the schooling. I was talking to a guy on Facebook. We're responding back and forth the last few days. And he started talking about transgender. I told him, if you have to bring a transgender person to teach elementary school children without their parents' knowledge, there's something wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
He actually thinks that parents are okay with that the parents are willing to let a transgender come in and do a show for them. Dude, you're out of your mind.
Well, there is the beginning of progressivism with Woodrow Wilson. That was their beginning theory, and it started in the late 1800s. It says it right in his book. But people shied away from it because there were so many riots and violence because of it.
There's going to be more.
When you believe that the state rules you and you don't have any inalienable rights, that's what there's. Our government right now is starting to tell you, the individual, have no inalienable rights. The only thing you have is what we tell you can have. And it's all for social expediency and social justice.
And you know they're winning because if you ask somebody, they'll tell you, what am I going to do? Nothing's going to change.
Not only that, Mike, again, ask people what the 3 branches of government are. Ask people what the law of the land is.
What are they taught to be? What are they told to be taught? To teach? Well, leave the Constitution out. That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Leave the Word of God out. That's an absolute must. They're told they're told what they should teach us, our children.
When you're telling little kids that we're a racist country, there's something mental with your head.
Well, there you go. You know, I might be going, this is my own personal opinion, I might be going way off bounds on it. But the way I think about it, if you tell a kid that they're no good because they're a different color, if you tell a kid they're no good because they're white, if you tell a kid they're no good because they're poor, you tell a kid they're no good because they're rich, and they hear this through their whole life. And then you wonder why these kids are going all the way up at the high school holding this. You're no good because you're a boy. You're no good because you're a girl. You're no good because you're a boy that wants to be a girl. You're no good. There's 7 different ways from Sunday of telling you why you know so good. And then you wonder why did this young person come into the school and shoot the school up? Because you've been teaching this kid since he's been in kindergarten that he's no good. You are no good for who you are, who you were, and what your family stands for, no matter what it is.
Plus there's no, like I said, there's no Word of God there. These kids are taught they're animals. You're no better than any animal. You're a dog on the street.
That's wrong.
And they're acting like it right now.
You have to stop fearing the government, people. Stop fearing them. This whole Trump charade is a show to put their fist on you, put their thumb on you, and say, "See what we're doing to a rich guy."
Yeah,
Hey,
that's
to
what we
be
remember.
president.
Remember when these guys said it the last thing? That's the truth. They're trying to scare you right in front of your faces. Look at what we're doing to him.
Yeah.
You're nothing. Can you imagine what we could do to you?
It's a fear tactic, and most of you people out there are falling for it. You gotta say no more.
It's scary, man.
We're almost finished up here. You got anything else?
I just got one other thing. So here's what we got to do on this state convention. So we can't just say terms. That's obvious. And the founding fathers said it. We got to get rid of the administrative state. And we know how to do it. Just don't pay them. There's 2 ways. Don't pay them and make Congress start doing their job. And if you have to up the number from what it is now, I mean, we don't have to go up a lot, but get more. Get the lifetime non-elected people, get rid of their staff, let these people start doing work. Return the executive power to Congress. Remove the federal education department. Bring facts back to court. They need to rule on facts. Again, know who the experts are and why they are and what they did to become an expert. Most of them, all they did was go to one of their brainwashing colleges. Dr. Fauci. Who knows how many people died under Dr. Fauci's watch through AIDS and every other epidemic there was. That man did nothing for anybody in America. He saved nobody. Nobody. That man did nothing. That man deserves to be tarred and feathered and run out on a rail.
Didn't we do a show on
What
that?
a disgrace.
We did a show on that.
2 shows.
Where they actually only helped like 3 or 4. There wasn't many that they helped.
No. We did 2 shows on that.
They
Many
stopped nothing from
pandemics,
happening.
and they didn't help anyone.
No.
Any of them.
Listen, here's how the executive office is working. Because with this administrative state that we have today, it's pre-Constitution. So since it's pre-Constitution, these progressives feel like they can do anything. And I'll give you a perfect example of it. All right? You ready for this? Is from my class. This is one of the questions they had. The suspension of the Affordable Care Act's employees mandate by Obama administration. So what happened was when they passed that bill for Obamacare, because the midterms were coming and he needed to win, the unions were like, "Yo, dude, we can't afford this. This." So he's like, "Yeah, don't worry about it. We got it." So he did something that was called, now this happened before the Revolutionary War and was done by monarchs. It's called royal prerogative power. So basically what he said was, well, that bill was passed, but what we're going to do is we're going to suspend it for these type of employments. Teachers unions, all government union guys didn't have to worry about paying it. And that was just by him, stroke of the pen. That's not constitutional. These kind of things have to get out of there. I mean, they have to go. Again, here's a true-false question. You tell me if it's true or false. The elite few ruling over the modern administration state maintain their power by distributing benefits to groups who support their rule. It's true. That's what they do.
Right now.
We just said it.
Yeah.
The Department of Education will give these schools state. We are a red state. But our schools will teach whatever the federal government says because they're getting money from it. Sorry, got to do it. Can't afford not to do it. So, listen. When this Article 5 Convention of States comes to your town and they start talking about it, ask them if they can add these things. Ask them if they even know what they are. Start asking the people running for office what these are, what they can do to get. Ask the guy or gal that's running for office, what can you do to stop the administrative state? Guarantee you they don't even know what the administrative state is. They're not going to know. They're going to go like this. But once upon a time when I was a kid, we did this, and no, that's not the administrative state. What are you going to do? It's time you started educating the people that are running for state, local, and federal office, and then start getting people that know what's going on to become candidates. So to start out, we have to start educating these people. Start asking them really, really hard questions. Get their feet on the flame. They need to know what they're going into. They don't know what they're going into. They don't understand that when they go, they're not in charge. They're not going to put on that $3,000 suit and say, I'm here. Wait till you see what I do, guys.
Can't do nothing.
They can't do anything because they have no power. In 1946, Congress gave up their power to the administrative state. And now they gave it up to the executive office in 1970 also. So the executive power and the bureaucracy power is so much stronger than Congress and the judicial. It's the legislative branch and the judicial branch of government is non-existent. It's up to us to get this straight. And this is the only way to do it.
I agree. So we hope you like our topics tonight. We appreciate you listening to us. Please share it with your family, friends, and get active in your local community. We know you are fed up. So stand united with us. Do something in your home community.
Yeah. Stop asking, why are they doing this? And start asking them, why are you doing this?
Get out there, join the Moose Club,
There's all kinds of animals you can join. Elks Club, Moose Club.
Veterans clubs, they're all out there.
Well, they're not animals.
Yeah. I've never eaten. No, I know we haven't talked about our Independent Constitution Party lately. But we believe everyone's concerned about the midterm election.
Yeah, we got to do the midterm election first, and then we got the list of voters. We're going to break that up and start having some meetings on how to get the signatures out there.
But we're still working on here in South Carolina.
We're hoping that we kill two birds with one stone and get the signatures out and the word.
And hopefully we'll have candidates running in 2024. We always say, don't believe what we say, research what we say. We can tell you every time. You have to do your own research.
Every church you go to, every good church you go to, they'll tell you, bring your word, bring the Bible with me. Don't believe me. Read along, make sure I'm saying the right things.
Right. So most people on Facebook are fed up with everybody. They're fed up with politicians in general. So please educate yourself, because knowledge is power. So Mike, can you say a little prayer for us, and don't forget to mention Florida.
All right, we got 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, and will forgive their sin, and will heal their land. Let's pray. Dear Lord, please help and protect all in Florida. Lord, please bless and protect this new party, this podcast, and all that work on it and all that listen to it. Lord, how desperately our land needs your healing. We see wickedness spreading across it, and we wonder how this happened. A solution seems so far away. The solution you've outlined, Lord, is not without personal cost. You call on us to humble ourselves, seek you in prayer, and turn from our wicked ways. Today we confess that we have many sins and not much good. We turn from sin. Please, Lord, bring us forgiveness and healing. May we be a part of our hurting country's healing. Lord, turn our leaders and people towards you by our testimonies and prayers. For you, Lord, we pray this in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen. So next week, we won't have a show. Jack's got to go out of town. We'll be back with you in 2 weeks.
We can put a repeat on.
We might.
Maybe tell us what repeat you'd like to see.
We have a lot of them out there.
Hmm.
So thanks for listening. Your support is greatly appreciated. So we'll see you next Thursday.
Feel better, Margaret.
Or the following, not next Thursday, the following Thursday. And have a good weekend, everyone.
And Donna. Donna's not feeling good too.
Oh,
My sister's.
feel well, Donna.
Both of them.
Both of them not feeling well?
And
End it?
Yeah.
They were talking about your aunts.
There was Jim Chapman.
I heard.
you never recorded it. That's why it was in red.
Okay, so I'll leave this for you.
Yeah.
Post to profile.
Let's see.
It doesn't look like it was.
Well, why?
Because you didn't hit the red button. You didn't play.
You didn't record it?
I don't know. We're going to see. I hit red button
What, the sprinkler?
because we heard the clicker.
Let me see.
Stop here and play.
He's got to download it first.
No, you can't
Let
listen.
me see the headphones.
Headphones? If it's gonna work or not.
Doesn't have the order of wiggly wigglies on it.
Let me listen to it?
Are you ready?
Yeah. Nothing.
What do you mean nothing?
You didn't hit the red button.
I did.
No, you didn't. Now it's all green.
I think you hit the red button.
I did hit the red button because we heard the clicking.
Keep on playing it.
We wouldn't have heard that click if I didn't record it.
But there's no lines.
There's no lines.
Wonderful.
You broke it.
Ah, let's figure this shit out.
You wasted all that tape.
Do you hear how this politicizing the Florida damage,
Yeah.
destruction?